So what happens when a person's quiet life gets completely turned upside down by a vicious, heartless crime? Well, in the movie The Beekeeper, it kicks off a one-man war against a massive, corrupt system. Today, we're going to break down this entire high-stakes revenge story, piece by explosive piece.
This one line from the movie, right here, it really sets the whole thing in motion. It taps into that awful feeling of injustice, when someone vulnerable is just left completely defenseless against predators. This whole story, it's not just about getting even. It's about a desperate need for protection that the system failed to provide.
Okay, so let's dive in at the very beginning. We need to understand the crime that started it all. A truly deadly and honestly pretty sophisticated scam that preys on people who just don't know any better. So here's the four-step trap they laid out. It all kicks off with one of those fake security alerts that's designed to make you panic. They tricked the victim, Eloise Parker, into letting them get remote access to her computer. But here's the really nasty, clever part. They pretend to give her a refund and then claim they accidentally gave her way too much money. This makes her frantic to return it, and in that panic, she hands over the master password, the keys to her entire financial life.
And the result of that scam? A total, complete financial wipeout. These scammers took everything, and I mean everything. Not just Eloise's personal life savings, but $2 million she was managing for a children's charity.
That theft just pushed Eloise right over the edge. Being financially ruined and just emotionally shattered, she tragically takes her own life. And that devastating act becomes the catalyst for everything that's about to happen.
And this is where Adam Clay, Eloise's quiet tenant, steps into the story. He just seems like a simple guy who keeps bees, but we're all about to find out that he operates by a very, very different and way more dangerous set of rules.
Okay, so here's the big twist. Adam Clay isn't just some guy looking for personal revenge. He's actually a retired operative from a top-secret, clandestine program known only as the Beekeepers. You can think of them as the nation's last line of defense, a sort of emergency failsafe that you only activate when the system itself is fundamentally broken.
This right here, this is basically the world through the eyes of a beekeeper. It is brutally simple, totally black and white. You have the hive, that's society, the system, the vulnerable people who need protecting, and then you have the hornets, the predators, the scammers, the corrupt, any threat that needs to be wiped out. To Clay, the people who went after Eloise are hornets. End of story.
And with that one simple declaration, Clay basically flips a switch and reactivates his old life. His retirement? Yeah, that's over. He's not just Adam Clay, the guy who keeps bees, anymore. He is the Beekeeper, and his mission has just begun.
And just like that, his one-man war is on. So let's track how Clay starts to just tear down this criminal empire, link by link. So this really begs the question at the heart of the movie, right? How much damage can one single retired operative from some forgotten program really do against a modern, high-tech criminal organization?
Well, the answer is in what he is. The man is a ghost. I mean, look at this. He has no bank accounts, no credit cards, no records in any government database. He is completely off the grid, which makes him totally untraceable and gives him the freedom to act with, well, absolute impunity.
And his methods are just brutally efficient. Check out this timeline. We're talking less than 48 hours here. On day 1, he finds the first call center and burns it to the ground. By day 2, he's already moved on to the next manager up the chain. The escalation is just swift, and it is absolute.
So as Clay literally burns his way up the ladder, he starts to realize this isn't some small-time operation. No, the rot goes deep. It goes all the way to the highest levels of corporate and even political power.
This map basically shows you the flow of money and power. It starts with those local phishing call centers, which all feed into a central data hub. But all of it, every single penny, it all leads back to one name at the very top, a powerful corporation called Danforth Enterprises. And the sheer scale of this whole thing is just staggering. As you can see here, a single call center can rake in $9 million a month. But the entire operation has over 20 of these places, which adds up to an estimated $2 billion a year. All of it stolen from ordinary people like Eloise.
And this table just lays out the conflict perfectly. On one side, you've got the FBI, and ironically, Eloise's own daughter, Verona, works for them. They're stuck with bureaucracy, warrants, a slow, deliberate legal process. And on the other side, you've got the Beekeeper. His method is direct action.
His goal isn't justice, it's immediate correction.
This clash between the system and the corrector pushes Clay to enact the final and by far the most extreme protocol in the beekeeper's code. You see, in a real beehive, there's a phenomenon called a queen slayer. It's a type of bee that will actually kill its own queen if she starts producing defective offspring that threaten the whole hive. Well, Clay takes that biological imperative and applies it here. He sees Derek Danforth, the arrogant tech bro running the company, as the defective offspring. And his mother, who just happens to be the President of the United States, she's the compromised queen who let it happen.
And that means his mission is going straight to the top. As far as Clay's concerned, the only way to protect the hive for good is to cut the rot out at its source. And that source is the president's own son, Derek Danforth, who's been using a secret CIA data mining tool to run these scams and illegally fund his mother's political campaigns.
This line, which Clay says to Verona Parker right before he disappears, it perfectly sums up his entire worldview. He exists for one reason: to be the remedy for when the laws and the systems we build for protection fail.
And that's really what the film leaves you with. It's this really provocative question about justice and where its limits are. What